Now, with many more exciting sessions throughout the day, Nidhi, will you please do us the honor of introducing our first keynote speaker of today?
Thank you so much, Sarvat. All right. So our first keynote speaker is here, and it is my privilege and honor to welcome our grand keynote speaker, Mr. Jay Chaudhry. He's the CEO, chairman, and founder of Zscaler. Jay is an accomplished entrepreneur. He has founded a series of successful companies, including Air Defense, Cypher Trust, Core Harbor, Secure ID, and Zscaler, which became public in 2018. Jay has a history of introducing innovations that address the demand of securely enabling emerging technology trends, and Zscaler is a perfect example of that. Jay has received many accolades for his accomplishments throughout his career. He has been honored as an Ernst & Young Entrepreneur of the Year twice. He has also been named an Information Week Innovator and Influencer, an SC Magazine Market Entrepreneur, an ITBHU Distinguished Alumni, a Thai Silicon Valley Entrepreneur of the Year, and Goldman Sachs 100 Most Intriguing Entrepreneurs. So let's hear from Jay and learn from his inspirational journey, his modest beginning, his experience at ITBHU, his passion of building and scaling companies with purpose-built solution, and what it takes to make your startup an exceptional success. Welcome, Jay.
Nidhi, thank you for the generous introduction. I'm honored, I'm humbled to deliver today's first keynote. As Nidhi said, I graduated from IIT BHU, a great school. In fact, India did something very good to start IITs in late 50s to early 60s. And we've seen how much impact people from IITs have had, not only in India, but around the globe. I wouldn't have been where I am today without the education and experience I got at IIT BHU, especially in those days. The fees were so nominal, the hostel fees, I recall, like 120 rupees a year. All that afforded someone like me with very humble beginnings to really able to study and get ahead. All of us need to give back to our institutions, and we can do it in many ways. I'm sure a lot of you are already doing so. Let me start by saying hats off to Indian community, IITs and other CXO leaders who have done so well, especially in the past few years. You know, in my job today as CEO of Zscaler, I very often meet with CIOs, CTOs, and CISOs of generally large enterprises. What I found is that about 6-7 years ago, if I met 10 IT leaders of large companies, one of them used to be of Indian descent. Today, almost every third or fourth person is actually an Indian CXO. That's a remarkable progress we have made. I mean, you see the same thing on running business. You've seen many stats where Indians are starting so many new companies. They're founders, they're entrepreneurs, and even in big business. In the 90s, it was hard to find an Indian CEO. I recall first time I found and came across an Indian CEO of a company was Kanwal Rekhi. He ran Excellent, the company that was sold to Novell. Kanwal Rekhi played a big role in starting Thai. And Thai has been very helpful to many entrepreneurs over the years. I mean, today you see Satya, Sundar, Ajay, Indra, all these CEOs who've done exceptionally well. We look at them as role models and we could learn from them. If they could do it, we can do it too. I think Indians have come with strong technical skills. Over the years, recent years, they've expanded business skills as well. Okay. But probably if there's one area we Indians could do better is get beyond technology, being a little more business savvy, having more sales skills, because at the end of the day, your business succeeds only if You can sell the products and services you're building. Probably in this area, we can learn somewhat from Jewish community, which has done a very good job in bringing people together and having a number of events. I mean, we have a good start with few things. This event is an example of bringing Indians together. Thai has been a good example. AIF, American Indian Foundation, has been a great example. And actually, I did a summit called Indian CXO Summit. I think it was in June timeframe, where we brought about 200 Indian IT leaders together. So all these things probably will help us inspire and learn from each other and do better for the country and for ourselves. Let me move on to the theme of today's conference. I love it. It's purposeful, it's disruptive innovation. And I want to emphasize that disruptive should mean disruptive. Okay. Many times we tend to tweak something and we think we got a great innovative solution. Okay. We can't fool ourselves. Okay. It's a competitive world out there. People are building all kind of interesting, innovative technologies. You know, my first principle of building disruptive innovation is do not listen to your customers. It sounds crazy, but customers often ask for what they know. Then I would say listen to your customers if you want to incrementally improve the technology that's in place. Okay. Customers will give you feedback how to make it better, how to incrementally improve, but they won't ask for something totally disruptive most of the time. A disruptive technology often starts with some big mega trends, and it requires often a totally different architecture. Let me give you a few examples. We're seeing disruption for the last 20, 30 years, moving at a faster and faster pace. Our internet started a big trend where anything could be accessed anywhere. World Wide Web technology came around. Laptops to mobile phones came around. We're seeing India going through massive changes with mobile phones being available at such a rapid pace. Now with new plans, with data is widely available, all those things are causing some big opportunities they're creating for us. Combination of cloud, combination of internet, combination of mobile devices are creating a new environment where things could be done. Think of Netflix. Couldn't Netflix succeed without all those things? No, but they're disrupted. Traditional DVD technologies, they looked at things in very different way. Look at how Tesla disrupted all this auto industry. You know, many times we talk at Zscaler, how Zscaler has been disrupting traditional network security, this whole castle and moat model built around firewalls and VPNs. We're proud of it. But then I look at Tesla. Wow, Tesla took on this whole big auto industry and it turned it upside down. That's innovation. So think about innovation, where you're finding totally new way of doing things. And that often requires a new architecture. If you have an architectural advantage in something, you'll get ahead. You'll have lasting advantage because you can add on a few features in a month or 2 or 3, but you can't change architecture very easily. Okay. Architecture like the foundation of the building. If your foundation is designed to build a 2-story house, you can't build a 10-story or 20-story house on it. That's kind of stuff we looked at and we did at Zscaler to really build a lasting advantage. Let me give you a few examples from my learnings of how you looked at some of these things. You know, when you do these new startups, I mean, none of us have a crystal ball. So you really can't say this is going to be successful 100%. But you kind of learn when you're close to the ground, you are in the trenches, you're building, you're talking to customers or even experts, doing some validation of your ideas. And it's okay if some people said, I don't like your idea. In fact, when I build disruptive stuff, if most people tell me that they like it, I kind of wonder if my idea is disruptive enough or not. Okay. So you look for people saying, no, this is not good. Now, take Secure IT, my first startup. it's kind of interesting how it got started. I have no background of entrepreneurship in my family, as my father was a small-scale farmer. I hadn't thought of starting a company when in mid-90s, this company called Netscape was started. Okay. And they built the first browser, Mozilla browser. World Wide Web was just born. And I was reading about it. I saw it go public. I love to read. I love to learn. The more I read about it, the more fascinated I became. And I kept on digging deeper and deeper. And it really got to a level where I said, why can't I do a startup? That was a simple starting point of this. And then I talked to my wife, who is an IT professional as well. We talked, we put a business plan in place, took it around. And this was about security services company. And we got turned down. It happens. Now, today's environment is a little bit easier. Raising funding is a lot easier, but you need to be selective about who do you raise funds from and why. And that secure IT was kind of disrupting traditional channel of how security was getting sold, along with traditional VARs, networking, and the like. We started probably the first pure play security services company. Okay. When we said all these general channel people were kind of general purpose people, we position ourselves as the hard specialists who know security better than anybody else. And we got tremendous success because we were the first mover in this area and we knew our products extremely well. And the company became quite successful and eventually, like most startups, got acquired by Verisign. But selecting the area was important. I tell you, interestingly enough, at that time, many Indians were doing this outsourcing or providing people from India to US companies. I thought about that, but I didn't want to be me too. Okay. So one of the things I look for is don't try to be me too. Come up with disruption, come up with something new, come up with something different. Then my second example was when I started air defense. Okay. Air defense has nothing to do with military defense. It is about defending your airwaves against potential threats coming from wireless technologies. It started with Linksys in about year 2000, started to become very popular very quickly in American homes. I bought one too. It was so easy to really set it up and connect to internet sitting in your bedroom and wherever you were. So my simple thought was, this technology is so wonderful, so convenient. Will it make into enterprises? And enterprises at that time were saying, we won't let Linksys or any access point wireless APs get into our enterprises. Okay. You know, my view was if technology solves real problems, IT can stop it. Okay, it's the business driven that makes things happen. So the notion was, if this technology takes off and enterprises start buying wireless access points, what will happen to security? Because wireless APs mean your Ethernet cable is hanging outside your building and people could simply connect to it. And that's what really took me to start air defense, a very new area, very focused area. No one was in that space. No, I knew that air defense area was a very focused narrow point product. And narrow point products are good when you don't need to spend a lot of money building a big thing. And generally they become a feature in the long term. And air defense eventually was acquired by Motorola. Okay. And that's another important lesson. Entrepreneurs need to know when to get out, when to sell your business. The many areas you start as point products. As you know, probably 95% of the companies that are started, probably 80+% disappear in a couple of years. And 10-15% get sold, and 2-3-4% become very successful and they become public companies. So being able to get out of a point product company, which in the long term will have diminished value, is very important. So let's keep those things in mind as you're building these companies. That leads me to the third example of Zscaler. How did I think about disruption in this area? When I was thinking, well, let me back up. Secure IT happened pretty quickly, became quite successful. At that time, I didn't even know who to call for guidance and being a sounding board, because I didn't know any Indian CEO running their company, or I didn't have any connections with anybody. But that's a gap I filled, which was very good. So then I started the other three companies, Core Harbor, Cypher Trust, and Air Defense, because I wasn't sure if I could build the company successfully or secure IT was simply a fluke. Good luck, good timing. All other three companies got successful, eventually got acquired like most startups. So I'm sitting in 2007, 2008. I had no desire to do one more startup, a point product and sell it. I wanted to do something big. I wanted to do something lasting. And I knew a lot about security. I knew a lot about internet. And I asked myself 3 or 4 questions to start this company. Some of this inspiration came from Salesforce. And if you go back at that time, number one, I thought, will internet be a big source of information? It already was. And the answer was yes. That means more people will go to the internet. 2, Salesforce, NetSuite were 2 great SaaS companies. I was using both of them in all of my startups. I love them. And I was convinced that the future of applications belongs in SaaS companies. And AWS was young, it's just starting up. But my second question was, will SaaS become the common way to really use applications? And with my own conviction, I said yes. The third question was, we were all mobile with laptops. Trio, BlackBerry is widely used. iPhone was just announced with a big screen. And you said, will we become more mobile? Will business be done more and more on mobile devices? The answer was yes. Then the fourth question was, will there be need for security, cybersecurity? Well, internet is the Wild West. If business happens more and more in the cloud, on SaaS applications and internet, I believe that there'll be more and more bad guys who want the piece of the action without working hard. So there will be need for security. With yes to these 4 questions, then I said, wow, I should do a security company, but why should security be sitting in the cloud? Just like Salesforce, it should be a cloud-based service. It should be a multi-tenant cloud-native service. I had seen how Salesforce was disrupting this giant in the CRM space called Civil Software. And I believe that if I built a disruptive architecture, I could really disrupt all these network security companies that are building firewalls, VPNs, all that stuff. That was the starting point. Now, it took a while to evangelize and get things moving. Because when you build new technology, when you build a new architecture, you got to do some evangelism. That leads me to the next discussion, actually, of the role of selling for entrepreneurs. Most entrepreneurs believe that the technology is wonderful. It's just the sales that really let them down. Not true. Yes, sales play an important role, but many times you should question that. Is your technology really disruptive? Is it 20% better than the other guys? Or is it really a totally different architecture? But either way, selling needs to be understood and done somewhat differently. In the case of Zscaler, we were not selling security boxes. The channel was all selling security boxes, security appliances, so to speak. We had a big pushback. They wanted to sell those firewalls and VPNs and networking boxes and really sell professional services to deploy it. They felt that with Zscaler, their opportunity to sell professional services will get minimized. We also realized that what we are selling was transformation. Transformation is not done by techies. So we decided to go top down, selling at the CIO level, CISO level, head of networking level, which is tough. Why would a CIO of a large Fortune 1000 company talk to a startup? Well, you sell to a few customers, you build references, you leverage, you go from there. But I learned a big lesson in selling a disruptive technology, and we evolved our sales process. It has gotten better and better. And when you sell disruptive stuff, legacy vendors will fight back. They'll fight back with disinformation. They're going to tell the customer that we can do that too. They're going to do checkbox solutions. And then there's inertia out there that holds you back. So your sales of disruptive will take longer, will take more, but you got to stick to it. You got to build conviction. And that's when you drive. And you as CEO of the company need to be out there on the front line rather than just blaming the sales leaders for not succeeding. Okay. I personally believe that the first salesperson in the company is the CEO. Okay. And the second salesperson in the company should be head of product management. If the CEO and head of product management have problems selling the product, no one else can sell it. Okay. So think like that, test yourself, make it happen. You know, Indians have always outshone in the development side in technologies. I think there's an opportunity for us to improve and do a better job on the sales side. We need to learn sales side doesn't mean you must be in the full-time sales job, but the mindset of sales, mindset of customers, selling, making customers happy is extremely, extremely important. True customer obsession is needed, and that starts from the top. You can't be sitting in your CEO office and really tell others that take care of your customers. You lead by example. You are out there in front and really driving. That's really what we try to do. The other comment I'll make for entrepreneurs who are building disruptive technology is that for scaling, building a good team is important. It's hard, but not overly hard to bring a founding team together. It's very critical that you have a good founding team that works well with each other. If the founders start fighting with each other early on for control and this and that, you're doomed to fail. Right? It's not going to go anywhere. You might as well pack up and go home. Right? But as you grow bigger, hiring people becomes very important. Look, I'm learning every day. I'm not here to tell you I have all the answers. I don't. But some of the things, for example, we all get fascinated by some of these big shots in large companies. Okay. I think you need to be careful that can a senior leader from a large company come down to a small company and do their job successfully. If you have a team of 50 engineers for development, you hire someone from a large company who is actually managing 5,000 engineers. Sure, you are going to struggle because the really perspective is very different. So when I look for hiring someone, I want to hire a leader who is ideal to handle this job for the next 15 to 30 months. If they do a great job in that, that's wonderful. Either they're going to grow and handle the larger job as the company grows, or if they can't, then there's an opportunity to take the company to the next level. Those are some of the practical things I have learned and I try to use. And then keeping open communication, all that stuff is very, very important. And I personally look for passion, I look for desire to learn over experience. For me, experience is actually the least important of the attributes I look for in hiring people. Now, let me move on to probably make some broader comments for all professionals. I'm sure a lot of attendees, you are engineering leaders, your product management leaders, your IT leaders, or business leaders in many other areas. You know, we all look at success. What is success? Its definition varies from person to person. And we should look at what it means. Success doesn't mean making a lot of money. Okay. For me, success means to do something to make a difference because life is so important. And we shouldn't be wasting our time, we make a difference. We look at Zscaler more than a business. It's very satisfying to see that we are actually helping businesses sleep well as they're expanding the business to do more and more e-commerce, more and more business that's happening in the cloud online. But for you, for all of us, to be happy and successful, passion becomes one of the most important things. Discovering your passion is very important. If you don't enjoy doing something, get out of it. And in today's world, there's so many options. If you know your stuff, if you have good knowledge, good understanding, right? I discovered early on that probably I would have been an okay developer, but I enjoyed dealing with people, engaging, interacting, and I moved to sales at IBM. IBM was the best sales training ground. And I enjoy what I'm doing. I combine my technical background with my sales and business background, which allows me to do startups with new ideas and all that stuff. So figure out your passion. It's going to help you go a long way, because if you are passionate about something, it's no longer work. It's fun, it's your hobby. The second point I'll make is, in today's world, we are a knowledge-based society. You should know your stuff well. And you don't even need to go to any special training program. Everything is available online. Go and search something on YouTube, every video on every topic, technical, business, communication, it's all available. Right? So I look for hiring people who know their stuff. Yes, IIT generally has good talent, but I want the best engineers irrespective of the school. Okay. I want people who want to learn on their own. Okay. I do believe that it's a matter of time. Maybe it's 5, 10 years. Even some of the big schools, whether it's MITs or Stanfords, they will get disrupted. If you can learn all that stuff by sitting at home and wherever, would you pay $50,000 for the brand name of the school? I think inertia will keep on carrying it for several years, but eventually things will change. I mean, at Zscaler, we look at the school, but we select engineers based on the tests we give to those engineers. The tests and how they do in their tests are far more important. The other point I'll make for overall professional development and growth for all professionals, I think communication skills play a very important role. So we should all look at how do we make sure we have better communication skills. And those skills not only help us in business, in our professional life, they help us in our personal life as well. Okay. How to communicate your ideas effectively. I personally do believe that while Indians, we get an A+ grade in technical stuff, we often probably get maybe a B or B+ in communication skills and the like. I think with some incremental focus, a number of us could move from B+ to A-, whatever. And it's an important aspect, because if you can't communicate properly, you can't lead teams. So that's a good thing. I still work on improving my communication skills all the time. The other thing I believe helps us to do well in our professional career, which I have personally used and done, is going the extra mile. I mean, there are no shortcuts in life. There are no free lunches. Okay. I've always believed that I should do more than what's expected of me. When I moved to IBM sales, I had no sales experience. I wanted to do better. And all these other salespeople, they were doing so well. So I said, I'm going to get better in learning IBM technology and solutions. I couldn't get ahead of them in building beer buddies, okay, and playing golf. I didn't like either of the two. Okay. So I wanted to shine in the areas with what I enjoyed more. And I was okay to give up on building friendships, drinking beer in the evening, or watching football games and the like. So pick your areas of strength and develop them and do better in those areas. And next point, a lot of you are leaders in various areas, a lot of us in technology. Right? Take on bigger disruptive projects. Every company is getting disrupted. Just don't think that what has been done all along is good. Look at all these big name brand companies and Kodak and Xerox, and it goes so many companies who were supposed to be the best of best companies. They're getting disrupted. Okay. So don't just think that that's because these companies are done this way, this is how you should be doing. Challenge the status quo. Take on new project ideas, okay? And learn, deliver results. If you deliver results, you're bound to get ahead, because at the end of the day, all these public companies, they need to perform, they need to deliver results. And one of the things I have leveraged, especially at Zscaler, is India as a strategic advantage. Okay. For software development, customer support, we have all functions across the entire company in India. About 36% of total Zscaler employees are in India. We're in Bangalore, Chandigarh, Pune, Hyderabad, and now we expanded in Mumbai as well. Okay. It's a great advantage. It's hard to find the right people because any job that 2,000 people show up, but find the right people. There's so many ambitious, driven people who actually make a big difference, and leverage it. As I close, okay, I'll say overall for our success and for our progress, I think self-reflection is a very important thing. Okay. I try to reflect on a weekly basis. What did I do well and what I did not do well? How could I improve? A sense, a desire of constant improvement mindset is helpful at a personal level, at your business level. Okay. Sometimes people blame me that I start these business meetings. I may spend 10 minutes on saying, you did a great job, let's pat ourselves on the back. But the 90% of the time is spent on what didn't work well. What could be done better? How could we improve? How do we do a better job? Right? That constant improvement of mindset is important. We see that in sports all the time. Who wins all these things? They constantly improve their focus on these things. You know, one of the things I have learned over the years is to be self-confident and self-critical at the same time. It sounds a little bit contradictory. If you don't have self-confidence, you kind of feel kind of down. You got to have self-confidence. And self-confidence comes from learning, driving, making things happen. You get your confidence. But being able to be critical of what you aren't doing well is a fundamentally very useful way to look at life. And that's what really how I have tried to do things. You know, it's a life, it's a journey. We all take different paths. We all try to make the most of it. And I always like to look back and say, did we do well? Did we help who we needed to help? Was the life with good integrity, hard work, a sense of belonging and feeling good about it is fundamentally very important to me. I'm wrapping up. I see a bunch of questions here, but I don't think I have time. Maybe I can answer one question here. It's a top-down approach for selling products. So sure. I think, how do you sell? What do you sell? Is it top-down, not top-down? Depends on what you're selling and in what market. My comments about top-down selling are only relevant for probably enterprise-type products that are being sold. If you're doing consumer-centric stuff, it's very different. If you're selling to SMBs, you aren't going to reach every person to even talk to. So look at the area you got, the market segment, the kind of product, and then make a decision. At Zscaler, for what we're selling and what we're disrupting, top-down selling was very important. So with that, I want to thank you again for your time, and I hope you found it worthwhile, and good luck in whatever you're doing, and thank you for inviting me for this conference.
Amazingly useful. Thank you so much, Jay. I learned a lot from what you shared, and it is completely aligned with purpose, innovation, and leadership from the front line. So thank you so much for your time. We are honored to have you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.